Congratulations to all the outstanding finalists. And while I wish I could be there with you in person, it really is an honour to address such an exceptional group of people shaping our finance industry, as well as holding out the torch for other women who will in turn pave their own way forward. When I think back to what the financial services sector looked like when I first started my first job out of university, it really is quite extraordinary just how far we've come. And while progress is encouraging, we cannot rest on our laurels. There is still so much more to be done. Everyone here knows that when women are free to reach their full potential and are economically secure, the effects ripple on to their families, to their social networks, their communities, businesses, and the broader economy. The business case is sound. Studies have shown that having more women in leadership positions leads to better outcomes for organisations and their bottom lines. And this is backed up with research by the Workplace Gender Equality Agency, who, in partnership with the Bankwest Curtin Economic Centre, found a strong link between the number of women in key decision-making positions and improvements in company performance, productivity, and profitability. In fact, those companies listed on the ASX who increased women's representation by 10% or more, or who appointed a female CEO, saw an average 5% increase in that company's market value. Conversely, companies with a 10% reduction of women in key management positions saw their market value diminish by around 3%, or the equivalent of $46 million. In Australia, we're catching on to this. Women now occupy more than 1/3 of board seats of ASX 200 companies, and that's a significant rise from just 8.3% in 2008. So far this year, 72 women have been appointed to ASX 200 boards, making up 42.3% of all appointments in that period. This is an encouraging trend, but more work needs to be done through the pipeline. According to the 2020 Retirement Income Review, more than 93% of all primary carer leave is taken by women. Research suggests that compared to women with no children, working mothers experience a reduction of earnings of up to 80% on average. The Grattan Institute also found that the average 25-year-old woman who goes on to have a child can expect to earn $2 million less by the time she is 70 than the average 25-year-old man who becomes a father. Women also remain underrepresented as leaders, including in the financial and insurance services sector, where 48.6% of the industry are women, but these women represent less than 30% of board members and only 13% of board chairs. There are still too many barriers, but the structures of our society cannot be changed overnight. The government can pull levers to alleviate some of the challenges, but continuing to improve women's economic security is complex, and it requires changing gender norms around pay and care, around career opportunities, and around leadership. As part of the Women's Budget Statement, the government's landmark investment of $1.9 billion purely in women's economic security will improve choice and opportunity for Australian women, while supporting Australia's growth and economic prosperity. We're improving the affordability of childcare, supporting pathways for future women leaders in the private sector, investing in education and skills, and improving financial security and home ownership. Now, these investments are an enormous stride in driving change in this country, but the government cannot do it alone. We all have a responsibility, governments and workplaces alike, to bring about a more gender-balanced world with women in leadership positions across all companies, industries and sectors. One saying that particularly resonated with me is that your greatest asset is your earning ability, and your greatest resource is your time. And on an individual level, one of the greatest acts to pay it forward to the junior women entering the pipeline organisation can be as simple as a cup of coffee. For me, I admit that two-dimensional networking Zooms have become the more normal over the last 18 months, and that's at the expense of in-person one-on-one meetings. But a simple act can truly pay dividends. Establishing these relationships will form the foundations of our next generation of female leaders. Everyone who has climbed the ladder is grateful to those who extended a hand to us. And now we have the opportunity to extend that hand back down. So on that note, congratulations again to all of the finalists. Your recognition tonight is incredibly well deserved. You are shaping the course of our country and have the opportunity to be a true champion of change and progress.